What's Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Denmark's plan for offshore wind? And is Australia accurately recording its deforestation? Welcome to the Climate Recap from the Beckosphere Climate Corner, your go-to place for international and US-based climate news. I'm Becky Hogue, a science writer. Today is Friday, May 20th. Let's jump right into the news you need to start your day. Let's start with some climate studies. Yesterday, I mentioned that 2021 saw a record for ocean acidification. Well, it turns out the oceans are the most acidic they've been in over 26,000 years, according to that new State of the Global Climate paper released by the World Meteorological Organization this week. Ocean acidification is caused by carbon dioxide interacting with chemicals in the water as it's absorbed from the atmosphere. The new chemicals created by the mixing of CO2 decrease the ocean's overall pH, which can then mess with the organism's ability to form shells, detect predators, and find their way home. The ocean absorbs 23% of man-made CO2 and 90% of the subsequent warming. Speaking of warming waters, the Gulf of Mexico is set to produce a really bad hurricane season this year. This is because the loop current looks similar to how it looked back in 2005, the year of Katrina. The loop current is a current of warm water in the Gulf of Mexico that can fuel particularly bad Atlantic hurricanes depending on how it's positioned. It's reaching far north pretty early in the year, like it did in 2005. 2005 saw 27 named hurricanes and 7 major hurricanes, including Katrina, Wilma, and Rita. Each of those major hurricanes got a boost from crossing the loop current on their way to making landfall. This year, the Gulf of Mexico is already warmer than average. Scientists predict 19 named storms this year and 9 hurricanes. That's 32% more named storms than average. Now, we're just going to have to wait for the first storm to appear. The Atlantic hurricane season starts June 1st. On Wednesday, President Biden warned of this bad hurricane season and said his administration is prepared to respond to the storms and help recovery efforts. Now for some climate victories. Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Denmark pledged to build at least 150 gigawatts of offshore wind capacity in the North Sea by 2050. That's enough energy generation to power 230 million European homes. But the countries also plan to use the energy to make green hydrogen and green fuels for heavy industries and types of transportation that are harder to decarbonize. That's a good goal, though I must point out that it will be a difficult goal to reach the way things are now. The European wind supply chain has been struggling to make money, and the permitting processes are slowing things down. So those are some things that will need to be worked on. The Netherlands also announced plans to ban fossil fuel-based heaters by 2026 in favor of hybrid or electric heat pumps or connecting buildings to heat networks. In 2018, fossil fuel heaters made up 71% of the country's residential demand. Now for some climate change fails. The price of clean energy technology has dropped drastically over the last several years thanks to innovation and the economies of scale. But now the tides are changing as critical minerals like lithium are becoming prohibitively expensive. The cost increase started in 2021 and has continued into 2022, according to the International Energy Agency. This is due to geopolitical tensions, rising commodity prices, and supply chain bottlenecks. Russia is a huge supplier of aluminum, nickel, palladium, and uranium, so the war has hurt the global supply in that way. The price of lithium and cobalt more than doubled in 2021, while the price for copper, nickel, and aluminum rose by 25 to 40%. Now lithium is 2.5 times more expensive than it was in the beginning of the year. That's a 730% increase since January 2021. This could greatly hinder the clean energy transition if not addressed now, as these minerals are used in everything from batteries to solar modules to wind turbines. The IEA announced it's expanding its efforts to monitor critical mineral supplies. Meanwhile, a study of data from Queensland's state land cover shows that almost 447,000 hectares of forest were cleared across the state between 2018 and 2019. That's almost twice as much as was recorded in the greenhouse gas emissions accounts provided by the Australian government to the United Nations. Without proper baseline data, it's hard to believe that climate pledges will actually be reached. Let's finish off with one more climate victory. London City Airport has vowed to become net zero by 2030 rather than its original goal of 2050 to get ahead of businesses toning down their business travel emissions. Proposals to reduce emissions include switching to heat pumps, adding solar panels, and switching to electric terminal vehicles. And that was your climate news for Friday, May 20th. If you like the work I do, please follow this podcast, give it a 5-star rating, leave a review, and consider checking out the Bex Fair Climate Corner YouTube channel. Remember to talk about the climate crisis every single day and to support your local news organizations. Bye for now.